Hello, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Has silver lost its luster? Well, some might think so. We're seeing a lot of economic progress in the nation here in the United States and maybe even other nations around the world. We've seen unemployment and lows that we haven't seen in almost 20 years. We are seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average at record highs, over 24,000 as of the recording of this video. Recently, we saw Bitcoin go over 11,000 per Bitcoin. And so a lot of people are, they've kind of forgotten about silver, and even here in the community. But you know what? This grimy, junky looking quarter here that I hold in my hands, it's not worth a whole lot over spot. But what it represents is use as money. And, this quarter may not be pretty to look at, but it shows that it has been participated in the economy, and at a time when there was an economic boom in the United States, right smack dab in the middle of the industrial age is when this quarter represents here. And this is made of 90% silver, and it's been used as money. So yes, this silver quarter has lost its luster. And since the beginning of when silver was used as money, since about 700 BC, this particular coin represents silver as money in about 100 and some odd years after the death of Christ. It's silver, and it was used as money. And the thing about it is silver has been used as money throughout history. Here in the United States, it was used up until the final days of this year, 1964. And this particular coin here, the $50, has carried silver in it as spending money up until 1969. And in 1970, only in a mint set. And in other nations, it has maybe continued in some sort of debasement of silver currency, but money, that in their coinage, other nations may have held silver in some percentage after that. But by and large, by the end of the 1970s, there was no more silver left in money, currency around the world. So all we are left with is this, and that is paper money that represented a certain value by the full faith and credit of the United States in this particular case, or the currency of your choosing, and what other nation you have. And other change and other particular coins, they're basically base metal. But even as such, some of those base metals carry more value than the denomination for which they represent. And this is the last kind of hard representation of money that we've seen, paper money. And we've seen what's happened when you print too many of these paper notes. People tend to lose faith of them, as was the case in Zimbabwe. But, so has silver lost its luster? Can people lose faith in this? Well, out of sight, out of mind for these particular pieces. Here's a couple more pieces of spending silver that have been used as money for millennia. But we don't use it as money anymore. So it's out of sight, out of mind. These represent the next phase of money. Now, you can pretend these are credit cards for a moment, but as being gift cards, they kind of serve the same purpose. It's a matter of putting money out of one system into another system. These represent dollars. In this particular case, the Subway gift card. And there's no particular monetary value associated with these. This doesn't say $5. This doesn't say $2 on it. It's however much money I want to put on them. And I think in the Walmart case, you can only put so much money on this card. And they're only available to redeem at the a business listed on them. In this case, Walmart and Subway. And so when we have these, Has silver lost its luster? Well, has the dollar lost its luster? Well, it never had any luster. It's just a piece of paper. In this case, you can get a coin. It does have luster, but it does not silver, that's for sure. Let's remove this out of the equation. Let's take the credit card out of the equation, which all three of those different devices, forms of spending money, whether it be a credit card or a gift card from one business or a gift card to another business. Let's remove these plastic materials out of the way for a moment. Let's wipe the slate clean again. And what you see is the next phase. And that is the electronic storage of money. There's nothing to represent it. Yes, I could put a thumb drive out here that could represent a hardware wallet for Bitcoin or some other digital currency. We could use some other representation. I could show a computer hard drive or a computer chip, because that's where it's stored. There's some sort of storage device, but even so, even that, the way we have moved, that everything is moved to the cloud, which means that storage is stored on a peer-to-peer network, whereas there's no particular hard drive or physical storage device to where that bit is stored, where the blockchain is stored, where the ledger is stored, the representation of money. And so there's nothing physical to look at. But yet, though, we see the cryptocurrencies creeping up in price. We see the Dow Jones Industrial Average moving up in price. That represents shares, that represent companies, that represent value to the economy. So there's a representation of this or that. And what it all boils back down to is when you cash out that value, that thing that is so entrenched and enthralled society today, the digital representation of value and wealth. Well, I'm not going to go and spend time talking about that. If the power goes out, well, where's your money? There's no way to spend it. Well, the reality is the power will come back on. There'll be some way to, there's checks and balances there. There's ways to do it. Even Puerto Rico, after a couple of months, there's a lot of places without power. And for that amount of time that they're without power, they're without the ability to spend their digital money anyway. Yes, they can go to the banks, certain banks, and they can hook up to a generator and get cash out. It's always good to have cash on hand. This physical representation of it is there. But the point is that, yes, we can rely on technology, and we should rely on technology. But when it's all said and done, the most basic representation of wealth is this grimy quarter here. This dirty, grimy, junky quarter. Because it has survived the ages. The silver that's in this quarter, well, maybe it was mined in 1901. Who knows? But it survived all these years. The silver that's in this coin has survived for almost 2,000 years. And it's not gone anywhere. It's maintained its representation. In fact, it's in pretty good shape, this particular piece is. It was saved. People saved these coins. Silver. Has it lost its luster? I would argue no. For you and I, we understand the value of silver as money, even more unique than gold in that regard, because people that held gold throughout history have used it to preserve their wealth. Yes, it was spent from time to time, but not for everyday transactions. This, my friends, is money. And even though today it's not used as currency, it is money. Look at how this eagle shines. Look at that cartwheel effect. Silver still shines. Silver still holds its luster in my mind because of the very nature of what it is. Remove all of the commodity type aspects of silver in the use in commerce or in the use of biomedical field industry as a commodity. Take that away. Look at the history of silver. Remind yourself every time you pull up a coin such as this, or this, or this, or that, or even this. The fact that the United States recognizes these precious metals, especially silver, as to what they are, as a store of wealth, and the fact that they've been used in commerce for so many years, to me, that representation, that history, is what shines brighter than any fad or any economic situation that we have today or any form of currency that we use today. But you can have all kinds of currencies, whether they be recognized by the government or not, as methods of exchange. But silver has surpassed the test of time and is unique in its form of money for thousands of years. Stay fast, hold true, my friends, and never give up on the true value of silver as money. It's not going to get you rich. That's not what it's for. But holding it says something about what it is as a hedge and as a historically significant metal that has surpassed the ages and eras and epochs of long ago. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.